Hey there fellow gamers and cocktail enthusiasts, Ben here, and welcome to another Castles and Cocktails recipe video. So a couple of weeks back I finished my playthrough of Ni No Kuni II, Revenant Kingdom. Much like the first game, I had a blast with this one, really enjoyed it, and thinking for a while about what I wanted to do cocktail-wise for this one. Last one, for first Ni No Kuni, I thought, I did this Babana flan thing, fairly complicated, fairly involved. Since we're right around the holidays right now, I figured, you know what, let's go for something a little bit easy, something a little bit festive, but still something quite delicious. So today we're making the Lofty. So because Lofty is a very small character you meet early on in the game, he is Evan's Kingmaker, I figured something equally small and red and with a spiky head or some way to represent the character that way would be really fun. So for this, I'm using a flared shot glass, fairly standard size for a shot, but the top flares out of the top. It's a little more regal that way. For this cocktail, ingredient-wise, you're going to need some Grenadine. I actually make my own. It's a fairly standard recipe to what I do with my heavier simple syrup. 2 parts sugar to 1 part water. Instead of water, I switched it out for pomegranate juice. You're going to need some cranberry juice. I highly recommend 100% cranberry juice and not cranberry juice cocktail. Flavor is just a little bit more pure, it's a little more tart and sour, it balances better in cocktails. And for our spirit, I'm using some Cognac. Now you can use just regular brandy if you'd like to. I chose Cognac because it's a little more royal sounding and has a higher class to it, and because we're making something that is a kingmaker, then it makes sense to use something a little bit more royal. Although, thinking about it now, perhaps Crown Royal would have made a little bit more sense thematically. And both for garnish as well as flavor, and which you'll see for in a bit, you're going to need a lemon wedge. I highly recommend going to sort of like an 1/8. And that's all you're going to need to make this. We're just going to pour everything straight into the glass. So to start things out, you want to just put about a bar spoon's worth, maybe about half a bar spoon's worth of Grenadine at the bottom of the glass. Just enough to kind of sit on the bottom. You're not looking for any kind of layering here, just enough for a sweeter finish at the end. I do this with all my shots, it just makes it a lot more palatable. Next thing you want to throw in is about half a glass worth of your Cognac. You can kind of use any spirit for this, but I feel like, again, Cognac's going to balance these flavors out and you're just going to enjoy it a lot more. And then the remaining level, we're just going to top off with that cranberry juice. And I specify to use the Cognac before the cranberry here, because the layering will happen if you just put the Cognac right on top. That's Cognac just going to sit on top. By adding it second and then cranberry on top, then it kind of starts mixing itself for you. You don't need the spoon or anything for that. And to finish it off, to represent Mr. Lofty's crazy hairstyle, we're just going to drop that lemon right on top. So there we have our Lofty Kingmaker shot. Now, this cocktail is a bit like a tequila shot. We're going to down the spirit mixture itself and then bite into this lemon. Now, rather than rolling this lemon in salt, or I was thinking about sugar, I like the idea of making it just a little bit sour, because Lofty in the game has a bit of an attitude to him. So, for Ni No Kuni II, Revenant Kingdom, this is the Lofty shot. Yeah, that's a very well-balanced shot. You do hit a little bit with the alcohol, but it doesn't overpower anything. It really balances out the other flavors. The sweetness of the Grenadine is there, but you don't specifically taste the Grenadine. And the cranberry juice, while really tart at the beginning, it starts fairly sweet, but as soon as you add that lemon, everything just rounds it out. And I don't taste a lot of sour here. It's not like a punch you in the face sour. Because I followed that up so quickly, any of the balancing happening here with the other ingredients really just kind of calms that down. And I feel like the Cognac being a little bit smoother than a lower end brandy would be, or even a whiskey if you went with Crown Royal, would. And I feel like it's the little bit of smokiness I feel like you get out of the Cognac that really kind of just rounds that out. I'm going to go ahead and do one more of these to see if I can give you a few more tasting notes. All right, second round for Mr. Lofty. Also, I probably should have mentioned this before, but when you cut your lemon wedge, Get the seeds out. Don't be dumb. All right, round 2. That's a seed. Yeah, you definitely get way more spirit the first batch in. And as soon as you add that lemon, it livens up all of those other flavors. Because it definitely starts a lot more hitting you in the face. And then like, oh, that's sweet. And it just mellows everything out. So once again, that is the Lofty shot. And this has been Castles and Cocktails recipe for Ni No Kuni II, Revenant Kingdom. Highly recommend the game. Super, super fun. I'm still playing around with the post-game stuff. The game really jumps between a lot of different genres throughout the playthrough. And while the main story is relatively short, there's so much to do in the game, so much extra stuff. Honestly, like the main story of the game is really about only 60% of what that game has to offer. So I can highly recommend that. As always, for more cocktail videos like this, be sure to subscribe to Castles and Cocktails on YouTube. Also check me out on Twitch every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern for more game streaming. Often adventure games, a lot like Ni No Kuni. Thanks guys for checking this out. Keep on gaming, drink responsibly, and I will see you guys next time.